4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music.
You must be exterminated.
Welcome to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for, with your hosts, Chris, Leaf, and Shadwick.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, talking about some X-Men animated series today, which I'm super excited about because, as we all talked about before we went on air, song was a banger. Anyway, how's everything going, man? Leaf, you were going off a couple hours of sleep over 2 days, so you're doing great.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
The clients do not sleep across the other side of the planet, it would seem, so neither do I.
Across the pond, as they say.
Across the pond, one might say.
So how many hours do you think you have, like, in the past 3 days? How many hours of sleep?
I would say probably 5 across the last 2 days. I'd say it's
Those
hard
are
to tell.
Shadwick numbers, you know?
Yeah, you get in those modes where you're going, and then like you're not sure how long you really slept. You're like, I feel good. I feel you're trying to pep yourself up, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm good.
Go about 2 or 3 more days, and it really is like Fight Club, where you start like seeing like flashes of stuff that's not really there.
Shadwick's gonna
you're
have this
just starting to realize
sad realization that the podcast doesn't exist.
And neither do we.
Neither do we.
we just fade away like mist.
my life is just one big like COVID fog. Like,
Dude, his life's a blur. Fuck him.
it's just real life.
Yeah. So how's your week been going there, Shadwick?
Man, it's good. You know, first day of the new year, so I have to endure hearing all fat ass people giving young people advice on health. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, I just fast for 12 hours and then 14 hours. Shut the fuck up. You look like the Great Pumpkin. Which tells you they're college affiliate.
Yep, there you go. So, I mean, hey, you gotta come out of the gate hot with this one. I've everything's been okay except for my shitty work schedule that's hopefully coming to an end soon. Fingers crossed. But I did
just go in drunk. It'll definitely come to an end.
It will. I don't think we're famous enough yet for that. Maybe one day. But I did order some smart bulbs for the bedroom, which I thought was going to be a great fun thing. Of course, with all technology, had problems installing them and then communicating with one of the seemingly 1,400 Echo Dots we have in our house. So anyway, my wife finally gets them set up, and she names it the master bedroom, which...
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. So I was like, Alexa...
Is the bathroom across the hall the slave bedroom? I'm sorry.
What is he, George Washington?
Yeah. The quarters?
The slave quarters?
Yeah, no. But so I go in, I was like, well, let me just try this. I was, Alexa, turn on the masturbating lights. And she's like, okay. And then I was like, and I just had that sly grin, like turning over to my wife, like,
it's not Lois.
Yeah, it's not Lois.
It's not Lois. It's not.
It's not.
And once a name like that is established, you have to use it.
Oh, for sure. Like, it's
done.
done.
Does Julie understand that she has to use that now?
Well, I mean, she has had to change the sheets daily, so I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, once it's been named something that epic, you have to use it.
Oh yeah.
If not, you might as well be tearing the tags off of mattresses.
Just make sure you let your maid Consuela know.
Yeah, I'll let Consuela or Rosalita. I'll let Rosalita know what's up.
That's
it.
No
No, Peterman!
Shout out to our goodies. Yeah.
Adios, senorita.
Shout out to our Goonies episode. So, well, man, let's just go ahead and move over then to our booze of the week because it is time on a Sunday for us to have a little bit of booze.
So
I'm gonna say, unlike the previous brunch episode, I'm not hitting that.
what did you learn your lesson?
Yeah, the
Bloody Mary. I believe we were getting a text from you like towards the end of the day that you were still drunk cleaning a bathroom, I believe. So,
Well, that was the good part of the day. It was after the nap, I felt like shit.
yeah. I'm coming in with the Tropic Mutant IPA today. Who is that brewery? Oscar Blues. It's a pretty solid IPA, and the reason I'm drinking IPAs is because someone told me, or I read somewhere, that it helps prevent Alzheimer's. So I didn't read any further into that or do any more research on it. I'm just sticking to that going forward with IPAs.
Why would you?
That's good. If you're someone that looks or is accused of being the father to your wife, you definitely don't want to start off with Alzheimer's.
No, not at all, man. So I mean, like I was just like, okay, you know what? Somebody said something about it, or I read something about it, and I was like, you know what? There's no need to research that. Just go for it, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
So
That's what you say. Studies have shown, and that's all you need to do.
Studies have shown. My studies have shown that IPAs get me drunker faster, and that's what I like. So
It's like those overly obese people that were so psyched when that study came out last year, that bullshit study that like cereal was better than like grilled chicken or whatever. They're like, I knew it. I knew it.
Don't read in the research or who did it. Like it's like the people that read just headlines and they don't read the article. That's what I'm doing on this. I'm usually like very much against that, but in this case, I was like, oh yeah, it does prevent Alzheimer's because I like this.
That justifies what I want.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you got down there, Leaf?
Speaking of justifying what I want, cheers to the fucking slancha.
Slancha. Oh,
No,
he's depressed.
that's not that what you.
Yeah, it's coming out of the gate hot, man.
Follow that
Yeah.
little bit of. Yeah, it makes it go down so smooth. That, ladies and gentlemen.
So,
bit
Shadrach,
of-
after your epic fail of brunch before, how are you correcting this issue this time? Buffalo Trace bourbon?
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure that it actually has bourbon in it, so I added a fifth.
He just added a fifth of bourbon. Dare him to drive. So, there you go.
It looks good.
Nice. And the Nor mug on top of everything.
Beautiful.
Well, we got today's topic. I'll go ahead and swap us over to the sweet screen of all the cartoons in the world that I really want to live in that is just cartoons. Talking about X-Men animated series season 1, this was a huge success. A lot of people remember this one fondly. Like we already talked about, the theme song, which I'll clip in here, is an absolute banger, and then I'll unclip it when YouTube yells at me. So if it's not in here, go find the damn theme song because it's the shit.
So I was going to surprise you guys with something today, and my assistant didn't fall through or didn't get finished in time.
Oof.
But
Yeah.
hopefully we can go back and add it later. But our buddy Matt Stevens was actually going to do an acoustic version of this.
Oh, sweet.
I was going to
Are
drop
you
it
kidding
together. So
That's amazing.
Yeah, we'll put it in.
so it's out there. It's out there now, Matt. You got to fucking do it.
Yeah, yeah. Matt's the guy that does our Booze of the Week theme, and he's done some other stuff for the show. So, again, a lot of talented friends we got. So, but anyway, where do you guys first remember seeing this? I'm pretty sure we all were out of the gate. This wasn't a go back and watch it. This was the as it released.
Like this was.
Yes.
I think I've talked before about how big of a fan I was of X-Men. Like it was the first video game with Sega Genesis, like that I waited for.
Such a good one. Yeah, the snow game.
Yeah. So I was watching this closely, and I remember it was supposed to come out in September. Was it 91 or 92 that it came out?
90. It came out. It debuted on October the 31st, 1992, officially.
92. Okay, so
Yes.
it was supposed to come out in September, and there was no internet back then, so we're just going by the commercials.
Yep.
On Fox Kids, and like they had it pumped and ready to go, and then
Dude.
I was sitting there waiting, and it didn't come on. I was like, "What in the fuck?"
You're
Yeah, dude.
kidding me.
And then there was no update. There was no change. Like, oh, I know we said we want to play it today, but it's actually going to be another month or whatever.
Yeah. So it was. What was the? We found out what happened, right? Like, what was the delay on that?
I think it was some animation.
Was it animation?
I think they had outsourced
Yes.
some animation, and it came back. It was incomplete. There were some errors in it.
Okay.
And if I'm not-
missing scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, when it did actually debut in October, they had to air it with those mistakes in it, and then go back and fix it later.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
That's
Not
deadlines,
that we-
baby.
And it makes sense because I was not a huge fan of the animation.
Yeah.
You mean right when you went back, you're right? Not originally, or were you as a
Yeah, I
kid
mean-
being like, "This is fucking trash.
dude,
Get this out of here."
Get it out of
Well,
here.
But no, like I said, I was like this hit at a perfect time for me because I had just like gotten into the X-Men comics maybe
Yeah.
a year prior. In fact, I still have this guy.
Bingo, baby. That's awesome. Yeah.
So if you can see that,
Wolvie
And-
Berserker,
and-
that's beautiful.
Sticky.
and just a show that I really did have that back then. Check that out.
No
Oh, is that-
way,
You
dude.
did that?
Yeah, this was mine.
Good lord.
So
What the,
Speaking of talented
I'll,
motherfuckers.
yeah,
what the hell?
I mean, this is, I think, probably 93. This one's not dated, but I've got a few here.
Damn, dude.
And
Then I'm just like,
we'll get some better pictures and throw them up there. But like,
Yeah, me
and
and
I'm
Leaf
just
were playing
like, we're giving
basketball.
away this. we were, and I'm just like, leave a comment. We're gonna give away one of Shadwick's childhood drawings against his will.
hey, you know what? I was thinking about. I think these are dated from '93, so
Mhm.
some of them are just pencil, and they're just simple inks, really. But I was thinking about scanning them in and going back and maybe do some color on them now. But
Do it, man.
Like,
God,
no,
damn.
that's oh my god, dude, that is beautiful.
Dude.
Is that Rogue attempting to assassinate Gambit by giving him a kiss, which we all know is deadly?
she's gonna fuck him to death.
I mean,
Yeah, a little Gambit
Wow,
Wolverine.
Oh my god, dude, that's so cool,
yeah,
dude.
you gotta at least get some pics of those, and I'll clip those in post so they can be full screen. Like that's
Throw-
awesome.
I'm gonna throw you one more. This one was unfinished, so I'm definitely gonna go back. I'm gonna do this in Photoshop, but we'll
Yeah,
Wolverine.
Berserker Barrage.
Yeah,
I got a question, dude. All right, Shadwick.
Yeah.
Like you said, you were drawn to X-Men. Like, can you tell? I want to know personally, like, what drew you to the X-Men? Like, even as a kid, and who was your like favorite character?
Okay, so one of the main reasons was they restarted, or they started a new comic line.
Mhm.
It was the Jim Lee art.
Yeah.
it started right around the same time that Todd McFarlane started his run on Spider-Man. So
okay.
So I was getting like #1 issues and starting
Oh, man.
fresh. And it was also, we were what, 12-ish?
Yeah, 12, 13.
Yeah.
So I think I was kind of making the jump with the writing styles too, like to a little more serious.
Yeah,
Which- I don't know if it gets more serious than, persecution of
of minorities. It's this is
No
pretty
joke,
adult.
though.
This is
There's
this
some
is adult
things.
shit. This is
Yeah,
adult
Some
shit for
adult
us.
themes.
Like going back, 20 years later and watching this, I was like, man, this was actually pretty damn heavy.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Really
Yeah,
heavy. Like
Yeah, it really was.
so I think I got into X-Men with the X-Men cards.
Yeah.
So those were like 90, 91. And the reason I got into those is I was at a new school and that's what all these kids were doing. And I was tired of eating lunch by myself. So I had to go ahead and slide in. And I went from being popular at one school to eating lunch alone for like 3 weeks.
So I gotta sit here and eat dessert alone like I'm fucking Steven Glansberg?
So I was ready to slide back in to popularity.
You were
please.
literally the Hurley boy. Peace be my friend.
Peace, my friend. I got these cards. Let the boy have your cards. So that got me into X-Men. That was my introduction.
What were you into, like, when you first got to that school, like before you?
I mean, it was like Ninja
I've heard
Turtles and
that.
everything else. They just were dicks. Well, I guess I said
Yeah.
they were dicks. They all went to they had all gone from like it was like 5th grade, so they had all gone to school together up into that, and I was like an outsider coming in. So I was one of
they had
those,
already they had clicked off, and you were the new kid on the block. So
Yeah.
that's hard to get in. Yeah,
Yeah, I went through that in I think it was 3rd or 4th grade.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was what it was. You learn how to talk to people, and you learn how to manipulate them. And that's where I am now. So
well, as for me, my introduction to X-Men was not tied to manipulation of other children, but rather my uncle gave us from him and when his childhood, like in the 60s, a gigantic box of comic books. I mean, a massive box, some of which actually might really be worth some money.
Giant box of porn.
what's your box of porn, Andy?
There may have been some porn intermixed in there. I can't remember, but I remember going through those and just being fascinated by I'd never bought comic books. I never grew up, having and owning any. So having all of these, my brother and I and he of course impressed upon us how rare and potentially valuable they were, and just to hold on to them. And some of them were actually my uncles, his fathers, right?
Wow.
And yeah, and I still personally have them somewhere in this house, and I'll have to bring those out sometime. But yeah, they're very, very, very old. I think I have the one that Shadwick has when the X-Men released, and so because I started grabbing and collecting them, so that was my first introduction.
Make sure you like and subscribe, because not only are we giving away Shadwick's childhood drawings, we're giving away a box of comics that Leaf's uncle gave him from the 60s.
Randomly selected.
Are those comics bagged and boarded, or are they just stacked up in a box, or what?
Some of them are bagged up, and others are legitimately just stacked up.
Dude,
So
we
it's
should find
an
those. We should
interest
just
bag.
have a party with that. We should have
Yeah.
a party and just go through
It's a
these.
good idea.
Usual vault rules apply. Touch not, lest ye be touched.
I tried to teach you how to handle comics when we were kids. Play Little League.
Yeah. When this series aired, though, I do vividly remember me and Leaf, Saturday morning cartoons, us getting together after the episode had aired to talk about the episode every week, because
Yes.
they started with the cliffhanger out of the gate with the 2-parter.
Yes.
But
Something kind of rare, I think. So my wife actually really loved this series too. We were talking about it just recently. We had a friend that we went to school with that she would go and talk to every Monday morning.
Really,
did you see X-Men? And they talk through the episode or whatever.
I never even thought about it, but I mean, it did span I guess it spanned genders. This wasn't really just, again, super adult themes. So
Yeah.
So I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't just explosions and dick and fart
Right.
jokes for us.
No, there were super for all the modern day we live in that pans female not having representation. It was fully represented in this show.
Yeah.
Absolutely full. There were female heroes. There were stories solely focused
Wait, what are you saying?
And Storm
Are you
Storm was represented by a shitty fucking voice actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you saying there was female representation back in the 80s and 90s, like we've pointed out over and over again.
It's weird. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Yeah. Females generally took the lead and the stage, multiple times in this cartoon alone.
Yep.
And it is what it is. Like, read them and weep. Go back and watch the show we did. And I watched it. And guess what? It was excellent. Like, it's still... like I still enjoyed it, despite, again, like Shadwick said about the animation issues, which reading into this, we all found out there were. I mean, you outsource, you get what you get. You fuck with me too long, you get fucked with. What can I say?
Well, so,
Chip on their horns.
They, instead of doing a two shade animation, they went with three shade to have like those deeper shadows, and they were trying to copy the comic books, basically.
Right.
But in I think in animation it just came off like too heavy, like Magneto, especially, like his abs stuck out like he had like roid gut.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the Scott Steiner gut.
Yeah,
it looks like he has a beer gut till he takes off and he's Father Pat's fucking shredded. Like,
we might be in trouble here.
So, but yeah, that's I think that like also we're looking back on it with like 2024 eyes, because we actually almost didn't do this episode. So we were getting through these episodes and Shadwick got about 3 or 4 deep and was like, this kind of sucks. And I was like, dude, I'm with you.
This sucks.
Yeah, this sucks. And so like luckily we stuck with it because the story really came around and they really hit a bunch of different angles, and the first season is good. I enjoyed the rewatch, but it was kind of touch and go early on because we know what X-Men are now. Like, I mean, you have like Hugh Jackman and you have like that presence as Wolverine. You go back and watch this Wolverine and it's a little difficult at times.
Well, did you guys know that I think it was just a year before this there was another pitch. It was called The Pride of the X-Men, and it was based on Kitty Pryde. Like, she would have been more like the Jubilee role.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, it didn't pick up. I know one of the things that just watching a few clips of it, Wolverine's voice actor was Australian, and he had a like thick Australian accent. Everybody knows an Australian can't play Wolverine.
Duh. That'll never work out for a franchise. But so I think what we decided to do for this one is we're going to go through brief synopsis episode by episode, and we'll see how long this takes. This could be a short episode, could be a long one. Who knows, man? We'll just kind of
and it's just season 1, kids.
Just season 1. Don't strap in for all 5 seasons.
65 episodes or whatever.
I mean, I don't feel as bad now when I was like, oh, season 1. Can we even do a whole episode off season 1? And I was looking like, there's people who are doing like 2-hour episodes on a episode of this, and I was like, oh, no, we got this.
A lot of dead air in those though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You're gonna get that here. There are no deep dives. You're ready to get ready to be skimmed off the top, baby.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So let's start off. We already mentioned the intro. Man, the song was a fucking banger. It's still a banger,
dude, like, for sure. And it gets stuck in your head, man. Like,
I literally set my alarm to that.
That's awesome.
Like, so I woke up this morning. Well, you know what's funny? My alarm went off this morning. I woke up, and my wife was actually watching season 2.
Well,
she had turned it on and went back to sleep. But
whatever.
Anyway, so that introduction, like, before there's any dialogue in the show or anything, we kind of have an idea of who everybody is because it gives like a brief, like a little sample of like their individual powers.
Yep.
It shows their team alliance, and then the music like builds up to where the good guys and the bad guys are like running toward each other, like fucking Braveheart.
Yeah.
So know, so it establishes like the good guys and the bad guys. And did the G.I. Joe have something like that?
They did indeed. Their intro was basically exactly the same, but even better because it had this A-Team-esque.
Oh yeah,
like dude, that was like, yeah, the terrorist organization known as Cobra, and then immediately. It's so good. That was the thing when Shadow talked about the animation. This kind of when going back and watching this reminded me of watching G.I. Joe, because there was some animation inconsistencies because in G.I. Joe as well, because it was kind of made in a hurry, and I'm sure they probably outsourced some of that. I mean,
they must have known they were onto something too, because the video game came out the same year. Like, so X-Men was just catching some steam. Actually, at the end of the episodes too, I thought it was kind of cool. They have almost the video game-esque little 3D models of the characters that rotate during the credits.
And it shows their powers. Like, it literally details what they can do at the very end. At the end,
and it's like amazing. Jean Grey, not a goddamn thing.
You have hate for her, don't you?
Are we gonna get it?
We'll get into it, but yeah, just a lot.
But yeah, the animation. I think one thing that bothered me, I think the movement. It was just them going from like one epic comic book pose to the next, and it was just like a circle, like the
real campy.
They'd be like pointing over here, and then there'd be a little bit of movement, and then they're like bracing ready for a fight. I'm like.
And that probably goes back to too, because that's what the comic is.
Yeah.
So they were trying to incorporate that in there.
Yes. As well as some of the dialogue. Let me just say, from the voiceover aspect of this, like I have in general, I have a soft spot for voice actors anyways. Like, even when they're, let's say, the voice acting isn't of today's caliber, because they're given a script and they are told how to act, right? Like, it's not representative. Old voiceovers are not representative of an actor's ability or talent at all. Because they're like, when you go into the studio, like, the director's going to be like, hey, this is what I need for you. And how are you supposed to be Storm? Right. And then, like, what? It's like, winds of the plains blow my enemies into oblivion. Like, I challenge anyone to act that and make it sound cool and not terrible. And some of that carried over in the first X-Men movie too.
Oh, it did.
Thanks to Halle Berry.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because the writers for the series, before they started, they went back and read every X-Men comic up to that point. So they would fully understand the source material, and I think a lot of the stories in the series were adaptations from the comics, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I believe from my research, yes, a lot of them were, if not all.
So if you fast forward to 2000, when Bryan Singer's X-Men came out in theaters, his reference was the animated series. He didn't go back and read the books.
Wow. So it was like secondhand information. Like,
so
from
if you
100% the Cliff Notes. Look them up, kids.
if you look at all the X-Men movies, like, there's a lot of parallels from this series. Like,
oh yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, so the opening scene of this first episode, where Jubilee's foster parents are talking about her, that's a lot like Iceman in X2, where his parents are like, well, have you tried not being a mutant?
Yeah.
So he was also, Iceman was also adopted? Really?
No, just the way, I'm just saying, like, the way the parents are like, find out he's a mutant, and they're like not supportive at all. They're just like, oh, there's something wrong with you, kind of.
I got you. Yeah.
And just to be clear, this is Iceman from X-Men, not Top Gun.
Yeah. In case there's any confusion,
Yeah.
Right.
So I will say, like, on episode 1, like we said, it's a 2-parter. Episode 1 and 2 are like one big episode. But one thing that drove me wild on this, and it even, I don't think it ever corrected itself. Those Sentinels were never one size.
Right.
Like, they would they would rip the roof off the house, and then they would be squaring off with, like, Rogue, and they'd look like they're 30 feet tall, and then they'd square off with Rogue, and now they're 10 foot tall. Yeah. Like, it happened a lot, and that kind of bothered me. But again, this is just going back and nitpicking.
Depending on the camera angle, Rogue's ass might have made him look smaller.
We'll go ahead and clip in that bubble one right here, right there. Oof.
Don't worry, that'll be the only Tom. Get used to that.
Yeah, get used to that one. That's going to be in there quite a
Donker.
bit. But
Wait.
so did you have a synopsis, Leaf?
Yeah,
I
absolutely
so you give
do.
us your synopsis, and then we'll just kind of talk about each episode and run through it that way.
Yeah, as Chris said, I'll mention the Sentinels right quick. Episode 1 here, X-Men season 1, episode 1. Jubilee's parents register their adopted daughter with a government-run mutant control agency. She runs away, but robots, known as Sentinels, smash up her house, assault a dog, and track her the fuck down.
Can't assault the dog, man.
They dude, like out of the gate, they're like, "Hey, kids, this thing is evil," because the dog's like barking at it, and the Sentinel's like, "Get the fuck out of the way!"
Yep.
Like smashes the ground. The dog runs off, so it doesn't kill the dog, but it's like you know these guys are bad.
And somewhere in the future, John Wick's like, "Wait,
Yeah.
what?"
I know kung fu.
I'm thinking I'm back.
I know gun fu.
Yeah, yeah. So this one was. There's a lot of. I guess I kind of didn't understand because it's only 13 episodes, but going back, there's a lot of groundwork they had to lay. For the season to make sense, and I think that's why I had kind of a slow start, or at least slow start in my mind. I guess going back,
So those first 2 episodes did a good job of like establishing character personalities, and the team dynamic. Like Cyclops was all about rules. He was kind of the fucking ski patrol.
Yeah, he was, man, dude. He was.
And then of course, opposite of him, Wolverine doesn't follow rules.
Mm-hmm.
Gambit was a ladies' man, which that's evident in that first episode when they're in the mall, and he's in a card shop, which, which I guess malls had full card shops.
They had everything.
Dude, they had everything, 90s baby.
But he's talking to the chick like at the counter, and she's just like starry eyed and slipping in her seat.
Yeah.
But also the team they don't all like really trust him.
Yeah, that's I found that, like, I didn't remember that. Actually, to be honest, I know I watched every single episode of this growing up. I didn't remember the second half of the first season, or I didn't remember it. Like I was like, I must have just watched it and forgot it or whatever. But
so just to finish this list, or part of it at least, Rogue is very likable, maybe a bit of a slut, but in a cute way.
Yeah. Got that out.
Morph was annoying as shit.
Yeah. Side note,
you there? Yeah.
Morph was one of my favorite characters out of the gate because I thought the power was really cool. The ability that you could just morph into somebody else, and then like the character himself is annoying as shit, so it was no longer cool. So,
so shape shifting died with morph.
It's like you can morph into anything, and this is what you choose. This, I can't do it. Ugh. And then, like we've already mentioned, Storm, her dialogue and her voice acting was just atrocious. Just absolute shit.
We're trying not to. We're not shitting on this. We're just pointing out, like, there's some things, right? You got with 2024 eyes now.
Well, I think even in this first season, they fixed that a little bit. Like,
I agree. Like, as it got later on, like in the season, it seems like a lot of things changed. I don't know what the writing process was. I don't know how long it took for this to get. Did they write the whole season? Did they write half a season? Did I don't know any of that. So, but so the first episode, is that all the characters?
Well, there's Beast. He's
Kelsey
the
Grammer.
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
Perfect casting for Beast.
The perfect.
It's Kelsey Grammer.
Snobby asshole.
I wish I wish he had made like some reference to this bar he used to hang out at.
Cheers.
I can tell you from my childhood point of view, I hated this episode even as a kid, and I remember why. I did not like Jubilee. I think she was a whiny little brat and a little punk bitch, and I wanted to see Wolverine and Cyclops and the X-Men, and the episode is consumed with just her, and I hated this episode. And going back, it all came flooding back when I watched this again, and I was like, I hate Jubilee, man.
He actually got
a lot of people.
TV. He broke a TV and left.
A lot of so you're not alone. A lot of people didn't like Jubilee. I've got a little bit here. So the plot of X-Men taken in Jubilee is also the same as 2000's X-Men movie, but they swapped the character to Rogue after filming. After filming started, for a couple of reasons. One, the series promoted the popularity of Rogue, which there's probably various reasons for that, and but also there was an issue with the girl that was cast as Jubilee. Y'all know that character's actually she's supposed to be like half Asian, I think.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I did not know that. Like,
because the cartoon doesn't really show that, right?
No, she does not look Asian at all. Like Chinese American, I think, is what she is billed as. So, but she does not look Asian in the cartoon, in my personal opinion. So when I read that, I was like, no, what? She doesn't have.
That's weird.
An accent or anything. I mean, maybe it's because she was adopted and born and raised in America. I don't know.
I didn't pick it up.
So the first scene that they're filming, because they don't film in order. It was a version of the scene that was in the final cut of the movie, where Rogue and Wolverine are in his truck after they leave that bar.
Yeah.
But in this cut, Wolverine had actually been shot by the bartender. So he's unconscious, and Jubilee's driving in the snow. But the Asian actress that was cast, I can't remember her name now, she kept wrecking the truck. So they got several days behind.
Good luck, everybody else.
Good luck, everybody else.
The last straw was when she ran off the road and hit the tree. And Bryan Singer was like, enough!
Yeah.
That's this shit no more. So changed the character to Rogue and reshot the interior bits in the truck.
Yeah.
And but he wrote in the accident because he said the footage of Hugh Jackman getting launched through the windshield and sliding across the snow was just too epic not to use.
Nice.
What an actor!
I think it's for the best.
That's all I got for episode. You the nice cherry. Thank you for that one, Chadwick.
Speaking of which, hold on. I'm gonna go to shit stuck in my head this week.
Cream? No, thank you. I take it black, like my man.
Airplane is one of the best.
Go shout out Airplane. Go watch that movie.
That's the most random shit ever.
Yep. What's so give us the synopsis for episode 2. We'll kind of start banging through these. Like we wish we could bang through Rogue.
So episodes 1 and 2 were like a 2-part debut.
Right. Second episode. The episode 2, the X-Men break into the agency, the Mutant Control Agency, rescue Jubilee and destroy the mutant registry files. Then they escape to the Blackbird, all except Morph, who is thankfully killed in the raid. Beast, who is hilariously arrested and jailed, where he spends the rest of season 1 in prison.
And that's supposed to be like a testament to his character and his belief in the
justice system.
Right. There's even there's a couple of chances that he has to break out, like Magneto tries to bring him.
Yeah, in episode 3, he gets a chance, and he's like, "Nah, I'm awaiting my day in court, dear sir."
And he's like, "They're like, man, you don't know how the judicial system works." Look, buddy, you're a minority.
I know. Magneto's like, but you were a minority.
Yeah, you're a minority. This is not how this works.
The justice system doesn't work for mutants of darker persuasion.
God. But so Morph is killed, or at least we think so. Thank God.
God, dude. Yeah, Morph is dead.
And this is when we start sowing the seeds of what the season is going to be about. The little dissension between Wolverine and Cyclops, and
this episode I loved though, dude. Like so the episode 1 sucks because it's all about Jubilee. My powers, and she's running and crying. This episode's so good because they launched their first mission. Because according to the X-Men, the animated series lore, nobody knows who the X-Men are. This is like the first time anyone has ever. Seen them, and they're fighting against this government agency. One of their own guys gets freaking killed.
Yeah, he gets axed.
Right, and Cyclops. Go ahead.
The reason they attack this place is they find out. So Jubilee is attacked by the Sentinels at the mall. The X-Men save her, and I guess they get like a chip or something out of one of the Sentinels, and they find out that there is a government mutant registry.
Yeah,
and Jubilee was on it, so they figure out that anybody that's registered is being attacked by these Sentinels.
And
so they go to this facility to basically destroy that registry.
Are they insured by State Farm or Progressive? Because those Sentinels do an assload of city damage. They just busted a fucking mall. They're ripping roofs off of houses.
Yeah, they're
doing Indian burns, bolos.
Yeah. So the Sentinels are funded by the same people that do all the secret UFO stuff.
That makes sense, because goddamn, dude, tell you what, man, if I was laying in bed and I just adopted this broad and then my roof gets ripped off, I'm gonna be like, okay, like, dude, I'm gonna need your insurance
it says right here, Sentinels were funded by BlackRock.
It's a peacekeeping organization. I'll hear nothing of the sort of anything against that.
Well, the best way to keep peace is to dominate everyone.
Yeah, I guess that's what the Sentinels were doing.
Keep everyone under your thumb.
Also, they varied in size, so that was convenient. All right,
which actually though would have made sense though if like this is real life. It's like this government organization was sort of like under there. It was like a BlackRock funded organization. So like they wouldn't have. Maybe their tech was not good enough to make them all the same size. They had to make mini Sentinels and larger Sentinels.
Well, we see it later on that they're just babies.
That's just government
babies.
That's just. That's just government spending for you. Like, oh, this 10-foot one costs $2 billion to make. Like, okay, let's make one twice its size.
Yeah.
And Cyclops is like, oh, shit. It's like its head explodes.
Yeah. It's like that's cool. That's $2 billion. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Well, there goes the taxes from Texas.
Yep.
But like you guys did say though, there is Cyclops, Morph gets killed, hilarious, good. Beast gets arrested, hilarious, and Cyclops makes the call to retreat. And of course, like Wolverine is Wolverine.
Yeah, leaving people behind.
Yeah, he's like, we got to get out of here. We have to retreat to the Blackbird, and so they do it all except for Wolverine, who refuses to go back with them. And Rogue basically gives him the old suck, and make sure he basically weakens him, and they drag him out. And there's an immediate split, which lasts pretty much the rest of the entire season, which is just, in my opinion, when I saw this episode again, like I was like, this is excellent writing. Immediately Wolverine can't hate like Cyclops for being in charge.
He hates him so much, in fact, that he cuts the top of his car off.
Yeah, the convertible. Yeah,
Cyclops, I've made him a convertible.
Yeah. Also,
there's other reasons.
A side note on Rogue.
Did that voice sound as good to you as it did in my head?
Yes,
it was good.
So,
it was really good.
Rogue on this. I also, in my head, Rogue goes on. Which she's starting to age a little bit more, just becomes Blanche from the Golden Girls.
You know, Rose, you're right. Family you can see anytime, but a one-night stand only happens one night.
So that's what it is in my head.
I can't work Cajun Blanche.
Yeah,
that's a good call.
Yeah, she just moves on. She starts to lose her mutant powers, so she can finally start to enjoy the finer things of life, darling. And then
Sugar.
Sugar. So
Hey, I will say that that this series kind of put voices to the characters when I would read the comics.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
afterward.
yeah.
Except Wolverine, he never really sounded like Wolverine to me. It was a little too high pitched.
Yeah.
But Rogue
Rogue was
and-
perfect.
Rogue and Gambit,
Yeah.
like anytime I see those characters now, like I still hear those voices.
Yep.
And lucky for all of us, there's going to be not a reboot, but like a continuation of this series. I think coming out this year.
Sweet.
And
Good
it's gonna
timing,
be-
baby.
It's going to be voiced. Yeah, no shit. It's going to be voiced by the same people.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Except the lady that voiced Jubilee.
Yeah.
She's taken on another role because she wanted in woke
Someone-
fashion.
The Asian
Yeah.
thing. I got you.
Something from the Asian persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we must not have actors voice acting
Yeah.
anything but what they actually are, because that's
Yeah.
the definition of acting, being
Yeah.
the real thing that you're acting. Sorry,
Uh,
I'm not annoyed at that at all.
Never go full retard.
Simple Jack, baby.
Simple Jack, man. So, all right, man. What are we on? Like number 3? What happens in
Episode 3. Real simple one here. Magneto makes an appearance in episode 3, tries to recruit some of the X-Men to join his mutant army, but they refuse and stop his plan to start World War III.
They refuse.
So if
They
anybody
refused.
doesn't know, Magneto he's just appalled by the way humans approach mutants, as a philosophy. So
Right.
he doesn't think there's ever going to be peace between mutants and humans,
Yes.
or regular Homo sapiens. We find out later that in a hilarious quip in the final episode that the Sentinels they equate
Oh, yeah.
humans and mutants.
As the same.
Yeah.
Do this. You were designed to protect humans from mutants. That is not logical. Mutants are human.
Put that guy's
excellent
clip in.
scene.
Oh,
We'll talk about it. But Shadow's right. He has a backstory. It shows basically that his relationship with Professor X, and it differs a little bit from the comic books. It never says where Magneto's from. It just says that, the animated series says he's from a country, a war-torn country,
Right.
where he's seen human beings sort of dominate. And once he and Professor X are like revealed to be mutants, and they were using their powers for good secretly behind each other's backs, right? He sees firsthand the cruelty of humanity. And I'm just going to say, Magneto even in the cartoon, he makes a powerful argument. He's like, humanity can't be saved. They're bigoted. They're full of hatred. They're never going to accept us.
Yeah.
And so he basically embarks on a campaign to start a war that he believes in his mind is already on its way or already happening.
he's just
And
trying
so
to get
he's-
out in front of it at that point, right?
Exactly. Like he's not like it's
See, I'm not a monster.
Yeah.
I'm just ahead of the curve.
just ahead of the curve.
100%.
Exactly. That's what it was back in 1991, man. 92, 93. Like he was just this character who was just like, hey, they hate us. They're going to exterminate us. And hey, at this point in time in the season, he is 100% right. They're starting a registry, mutant registry to track mutants down. Like Magneto, right now in episode 3 is 100% correct that
Have
there
you-
is a war coming.
Have you guys ever noticed a really well written villain actually has a really good point? It's just to the extremes that they go to try
Yeah.
to.
That's kind of what, like,
validate that.
yeah, that's kind of what they do. That I was reading stuff on wrestling on that too. Like the heel or the bad guy always believes what they're saying,
Yeah.
and they always have.
Yes.
There's always a small kernel of truth to everything that they're doing.
I mean, look at Heath
Yeah.
Ledger's Joker. You got Thanos. Like
Mhm.
they thought that they were right. Maybe they were.
Maybe.
You know, like
Maybe just,
Yeah.
it's,
And-
it's just frowned upon to kill a bunch of people in the process. of proving that.
you know, hey, it's just frowned
Professor
upon,
X
like masturbating
the-
in public. It's just frowned upon.
Masturbating lights on.
Masturbating lights on.
Professor X is like the other side of that coin. He's basically like, hey, we can still work with human beings. Beast believes in the justice system.
Yeah. To a fault.
To a fault, and so he's like, dude, we can work with it, and like Magneto's like, no, like I've seen the cruelty firsthand. Like they're lost. They're lost. We are the next evolution of humanity, and like we are the future, not them. And so like if one of us is going to happen,
introduction for Magneto too, in this episode,
freaking beautiful, dude.
Really well done.
It really was. It was, and he looks cool in this, and his powers are freaking cool. He tries to, as Chadwick mentioned, tries to break Beast out of jail. That's like the opening scene in this. Yeah. He shows up and just wrecks everyone. They got tanks. He's just flinging them to the side. He rips open like the walls of the mutant prisons. Yeah. Like, yo, Beast, join my team. Let's get the hell out of here. And Beast is just like,
he didn't, and he didn't even have to use his powers to bust that wall open. It's used his HGH gut.
Yeah.
He's like,
dude. He also, this character Magneto too, made me rethink like everything that has metal in it. You know, when you start to like be like, oh shit, like like even concrete's got like, you know, the rebarb or whatever in there that's gonna bust open. You've got everything's got some kind of metal.
You know, in the comics, I didn't read this book, but I know that there was one where he tore the adamantium off of or out of Wolverine.
Yeah, I do remember. I remember reading about that.
I heard that. Sounds I also never saw it. It does. It sounds horrific, and I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. But even in one scene, like he's trying to talk to Beast about like leaving, and Beast is like, nah, and the human beings are still attacking him, and he basically just creates a magnetic bubble, like where the bullets and the shells can't even touch them, so he can finish the conversation with Beast. He's like, you annoying little flies. Like I'm having a.
That was one thing that was really good with the animation. I don't know if it was that one or I know there's one where he's hovering and he's talking to someone and there's all this debris is falling. So you'll see like the debris coming down and then this like bubble will like form around him.
Yeah.
And the debris will like bounce off and then the bubble goes away.
Right.
Yes.
Like, it was pretty cool animation. Like
it was really cool.
A little detail.
Yeah, it was done really well. So, all right, so we get introduced to Magneto. So let's move on to numero quattro.
Yeah. So in episode 3, he tries to basically launch a bunch of nuclear missiles at other human beings to destroy them, and the X-Men stop him. That's basically how the last episode ends. Nuclear vessels. The X-Men are like, he's like, join me. He actually thinks they're there to help him when the X-Men show up. That's like how delusional he's like, oh, I'm glad I'm here for reinforcements. Yep. And they're like, no, this is like where they stop him. Of course, and that's basically the end of it.
He's like, what?
Yeah, exactly. So he tries again in episode 4. At Beast's trial, yes, that's correct. Beast is still in court. Sabretooth breaks in and wrecks the place, and Beast goes straight back to jail.
Before Sabretooth comes
suck
in,
at Monopoly.
Beast is he's giving a little speech to the judge.
Oh yeah,
and he says they're talking about they're equal, you know, mutants and humans. And
yeah, it's such a good speech.
He goes, "Prick us, do we not bleed?" And the judge goes, "Mr. McCoy, don't give these people any ideas."
Yeah, what a great judge.
What an amazing judge.
What a completely unbiased judge there. Yeah. So. Anyway, so he's back in court.
So he's back in court. Beast, so Sabretooth, breaks in, is just raging and like destroys the place. The X-Men managed to capture Sabretooth, but of course the judge is just like, this isn't a good argument for the fact that mutants aren't dangerous.
Yeah.
And sends him back to prison. So he's just goes right back to jail.
Right? Like they bail.
Yeah, bail is denied. And
there's really kind of parallels people's argument for like more gun control. You know, like it's not the gun's fault. It's the person. It's how they use it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whether you're pro or anti-gun, you're exactly right. And goes back to what you said in the beginning, Shadwick, that there's really a lot of adult themes in this, and that's exactly where that comes from, right? It's like it's not about the X-Men's powers, right? That's the argument that the Beast is making. Yeah. It's about the individual is what matters, right? Like how you use your powers and your abilities, that makes you dangerous or good. And of course, right when he says that, basically Sabretooth breaks an AK-47 and just starts blasting.
Like, I started blasting. Bang! Bang! No, I don't see so good, so I missed.
It kind of kills your argument.
So anyway, that was blasting. Yeah.
So later in the episode, Magneto blows up a chemical plant to lure out his old friend Professor X, but the X-Men show up and beat his ass.
Plants. Like, what's the obsession with chemical plants in comics back then?
I don't know about comics, but I can tell you in cartoons, dude. Everyone, and I know you two agree with me. Listen, people in watching this video in the comments section, like if you two were scared of quicksand, chemical plants, like random nuclear annihilation, like they all had themes of that. And there's nothing scarier than legitimately think about it, like a chemical plant with gas you can't see, and it's just everywhere, and you're choking. Yeah, and you're destroying the environment, which we were all terrified of, thanks to constant berating in school about that.
And what this showed you too was that if you were different, if you were a minority, you may get gassed and put into slavery.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly like what this was, because I guess the movie made the logical step to Magneto's origin story being the Holocaust. Because this was, I mean, I assume this is, they wrote these, I don't know when X-Men debuted or whatever, but like
60.
Yeah, so I mean, like this probably a heavy influence on that still, in the 60s.
Yes.
So
we talked about it in DMs, like when they started making those parallels between Magneto basically being, a concentration like camp Jew. And that was legitimate. Like that actually did happen. Originally, it wasn't really fleshed out. Like I did a lot of research. Like he was just sort of this melodramatic bad guy who hated human beings. And so I can't remember the author, whoever like kind of pushed it into that realm and sort of made it canon, that the cartoon sort of used it, to great effect. And then of course, like you said, the movie, definitely the first X-Men movie.
And the movie, what's the actor's name that plays Magneto?
Gandalf the Grey.
Yeah. So I can't remember which movie it is, but he's they're talking about the mutant registry, like they're wanting to give people or mutants like numbers or whatever.
Yes.
And he makes this statement. It's like, I was given a number once, and like he shows his tattoo, and he's like, never again.
And that's what I mean. That gives you a other side of the coin on your bad guy, where you're almost like, I mean,
like, okay, like you've seen, so like, exactly. In the movie, so they parallel the hatred, human beings' hatreds for mutants with human beings' hatred and bigotry for each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's why that hit so hard. And then of course, given the even the current political climate, that's also the dangers of tying your fantasy in with reality, right? There's a lot of people that would disagree with what Israel's doing now, and that's the danger, right? Like, is that okay? Yeah, they made this amazing point, but now a lot of people might have changed their minds, right? And when you do that, you run the risk of your fantasy not becoming timeless, and it tied with real life events. So
it'll ruin. It can ruin like your product.
It can and it has, right? Yeah. I mean, like, I know we're like Shadwick did mention, and it was in my boring ass facts list, that there is a series that it is billed as a revival series for this show that's coming out in 2024, of course, only found on Disney Plus. and that the dangers of them including current political climate and politics are in there, and you see that in everything nowadays, and it ruins it. It dates it. It makes it. It
Super
doesn't
dates it. And
Southport says it best, by the way, in the Pandaverse.
It means put a chick in the linguine and make her fucking gay. And I want it lame.
It was excellent, and that's exactly what it is that it is pandering to a certain political ideology or group. And when you do that, again, I thought, like, again, when I saw this, like the X-Men movie, and this has been something that has been in the comic books. I apologies to the writer that wrote it. I thought it was brilliant writing at that time.
Yeah,
right. But you run the risk of putting a day on your and having everything go back to that, right? And so now later on you had people being like, well, Magneto is obviously a Jew, and how do you explain what Israel is doing? And the guy's like,
it's
this
is
fucking
cartoon and fiction.
It's a cartoon. He started it though by saying, well, we tied it to the Holocaust, and so yeah, it's a very dangerous thing.
Slippery slope, man.
You can also date these things with technology, because Jubilee's foster dad was he was really pissed. He's like, look what she did to the VCR.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. It was damn near Betamax if this had been made 5 or 6 years earlier.
Those things are expensive. Hey, they're expensive now. I was trying to look at to get one because I have some VHS tapes. They're like $200 and $300 on Amazon now.
God, they're relics, man.
Dude,
can't afford that shit.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
What am I, a millionaire?
Right,
all right, man.
right.
Let's move on. Next one.
We on it. All right, episode 4. So at excuse me, are we episode 4? Yeah, no. This is after Magneto. Oh, one last thing. Magneto does blow up the chemical plant to lure out his old friend Professor X. The X-Men show up and basically kick the shit out of Magneto. And at the end, he gets away, but at the end, Magneto's basically like, okay, you've cast your lot with human beings. I get it. I try to convince you. We're going to see how this works out for you then. Because he is convinced.
Rogue saves everybody, doesn't she?
Basically
saves Professor X and
yes.
Rogue's man. Rogue's
end up being the hero, and you start to learn more about. And so the whole time, it's the perfect time to pause and just say, all the X-Men are evolving. The interactions that you're missing with our synopsis, you need to go watch it. It's happening every single episode. Every single character is getting layers and layers and layers put on them. Even Jubilee, which I really can't stand, but I understand she's a necessary device in the show.
She's a little kid,
She's the kid. She's the newcomer. She's learning to control her powers,
which is a good storytelling device too. You have somebody new, so you kind of get introduced to everybody as they're introduced to everybody.
Yeah. She's an important part of the show.
You start to get the tension between Gambit and Rogue. You get the Wolverine, the little triangle between Wolverine, Cyclops, and shitty fucking Jean Grey.
Well, funny you should mention that.
Yeah. So because the next episode is shit. I just lost everything. What you got there?
I got it. You go ahead, Shadow.
Okay, here we go. Captive Hearts. Episode 5 is where Cyclops and Jean Grey are out on a date or whatever. Yeah. And when they get lured into the sewers, was it the Morlocks? Is that what they were called?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. So my synopsis really quick says Cyclops and Jean Grey go out on a date and get captured by another group of sewer mutants known as Morlocks. Meanwhile, Wolverine cries in bed over a picture of Cyclops and Jean Grey while wearing his full X-Men outfit, including the mask. So I know it's foreshadowing.
Which will be the thumbnail for this episode.
Yes.
100%.
So
they're on a date.
Also, this goes back to the obsession with the goddamn sewers, man. Like, why is there always sewer things?
Dude,
Like,
because in cities there's massive sewer lines and your imagination runs wild. What's down there, dude?
Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, X-Men, like
Alligators. Like, who knows what's down there, brother? Like mutants, anything,
Hey,
dude.
you remember Lex Luthor's place in Superman in '78? It was like a giant fucking mansion with a swimming pool in the sewers.
in the sewer.
I
Yeah.
forgot about that, dude. That was so cool.
What was it like?
Damn.
Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom, and then,
Aquaman tries to make a sandwich.
yeah, a fish sandwich.
Have you guys watched the Harley Quinn cartoon
Yes.
Yes.
where they use the Tom Hardy Bane voice, but they just make him into a joke? Like he
Dude,
gets
so
pissed.
funny.
He gets pissed, like he trips over a chair. And he's like, "Oh God damn it!"
Yeah.
And he's
talking about HPV in it too. Like, it's so funny, man.
When, yeah. And every time he gets mad about something, he threatens to blow it up.
Yeah.
Like somebody got his copy order wrong. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to blow up this bar."
Yeah.
He's on that juice, dude. It's roid rage.
Dude, he is-
It's roid rage.
God.
Sorry, sidebar.
That was excellent. So yeah, Cyclops and Jean Grey, they do go on a date, and then for some reason, these group of Morlocks. This episode
It's weird,
is
right?
really-
And it's
it's
out of
weird.
left field. And it's out
it's
of
out
left
of
field.
left field. Yes.
Yeah.
So
The leader of the Morlocks is a chick with a very butch. Can I say butch haircut?
you
Yeah,
could say
yeah.
that. You could say that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
can say that.
allowed.
Very butch haircut, but she wants Cyclops to be her, not her mate, not her partner, but just the seed to her heir.
Yeah.
She's
That,
literally like, I've traveled 2,000 miles for you to give me
my
your
s-
seed.
I traveled 500 miles to give you my seed.
lumberjack.
So can you just? I mean,
It was a
Can you just
weird
feed the
fucking.
geese?
It was just a weird fucking episode, man. And I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this one, but it was like, because you end up like everybody has
what's wrong, Lee?
everybody has their moment.
Was it feed the geese?
The sleep has finally got him.
Ah, broken.
2 shots, and 2 hours of sleep, and he's done.
It's so stupid because like they got Jean Grey tied up, and of course, to Chris's point, she's completely fucking useless.
She just sucks.
Because there's this other old ass mutant that could like make you go to sleep, and all of Jean Grey's powers, like this is one of those powerful mutants on the earth, and I don't even know who it is, but it's some old lady, and all she has to do is basically tell you to fall asleep. You fall asleep. Insane. Insanely powerful, and so Jean Grey basically spins the whole thing chained up. And what is the main like mutant's name of the Morlocks? Is her name Callisto?
That's
trying to
right.
remember.
Yeah. So
Something,
like,
yeah, I think it's she's really butch, and she's got like a punk rock outfit on, and
I'm sure you can find one of her old softball jerseys that's got her name on it.
I'm telling you, dude. So her motivation is her actual motivation is I need an heir to the Morlock Kingdom. Basically, her group of mutants, rebel mutants that she runs and leads. It's so strange. So she's
like, look at all these morose motherfuckers. I'm not fucking into them.
yeah, they're like, look at them, Jesus. I mean, they look like sewer mutants. I mean, they check the box for sewer mutants. I mean,
that's actually the only part of the episode that makes any sense. Is that makes a good point. Is the Morlocks are a group of mutants that can't live among normal human beings because they're actual freaks. They didn't luck out like Jean Grey and Cyclops, and they're not good looking, and they're not like, you know what I mean? Like Cyclops looks like he like has like a sexual assault charges, like a fucking lacrosse player.
Yeah,
you know, he looks like a trust fund baby.
And every time, and if the video game taught us anything, every time Cyclops does an uppercut, he goes, "Jesus Christ!"
That's true.
I don't understand why. That is correct.
So,
Optic blast, optic blast.
So they make a good point. Like they go in the sewers, And long story short, the rest of the X-Men, including Storm, Rescue, Cyclops.
Well, this is the breakout for Storm. This is
the
like
breakout for Storm.
where Storm gets to be the hero. And
yes, and you learn a little bit about her weakness and backstory.
She doesn't have to use fucking Arctic winds for the 1400th time. Like
it's a powerful
Arctic
spell.
winds chill them to the bone.
Oh no! Let's just have the comic book, man. Cut the voice actors some credit, damn it.
But so Storm gets to be the hero in this one. So this
Storm gets to be the hero.
Once she gets over her crippling
claustrophobia.
You're a claustrophobic.
You're a claustrophobic. Which she gets to. They get to that later on in the series too. Like
she beats Callisto hand to hand and earns the respect of the tribe. Which is,
and I don't know, was this like were these like, was this a big thing in the comics? Is this like throwing a bone in here with the Morlocks or whatever? Like, this one was just out of left field. I was like,
I have no idea if the Morlocks ever made in. Again, it hits hard to me with, I understand their point of view is they're basically like in hiding.
Yeah.
Because of the way that they look. So like they have my sympathy for that. But
they're the precursor to the mutants from Futurama.
Yeah, they are. Futurama
like
literally stole.
Yeah. That's crazy.
They stole the Morlocks they stole the idea from the Morlocks. It absolutely is. So Storm flies down there. You find out she has weaknesses like all of the X-Men do. Again, the plot continues. Each character does grow in every single episode. Storm has claustrophobia. She's forced to go down in the sewers and lead the team that's left that isn't captured to rescue Jean Grey and Cyclops, which they do. Storm beats without her powers in hand-to-hand combat, beats Callisto, and basically becomes the new leader of the Morlocks. And it's like, you, Callisto, I appoint you as the leader temporarily.
That's where, like, I mean, like I said, this is the showcase for Storm episode, but it also is like where you started and where you ended in this episode. Like, you went nowhere. Like, Callisto's still the leader of the Morlocks. Like, nothing.
The de facto leader. Nothing happens, and Storm's like,
changed.
When we have peace upon the earth, you can return, and I will return and lead you back to the glorious revolution.
I'll lead you with the Arctic winds to chill you to the bone, Harry Potter.
Do you accept American Express?
Listen, we should mention before we go to the next episode.
We can't forget
in episode 4, there was a subplot where Sabretooth was at Xavier's mansion.
Yeah,
Xavier was trying to do some hypnosis on him and calm his ass down.
Jubilee fucked it all up.
Yeah, Jubilee did the stupid.
She trusted
the stupid chick move. She got too close and. And so he breaks out, and Wolverine, I guess, attacks him, right?
Yeah, they fight.
Yeah, he's trying to save Jubilee. He gets clawed in the gut. Sabretooth gets the fuck out of there, and then that kind of launches into episode 6 later on because Wolverine has he's been absent for the next episode. He went to hunt down Sabretooth, and we get to episode 6, Cold Vengeance, which is one of my favorite ones, actually.
That's the one with him and Sabretooth, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think this one is my favorth one in the series.
You like this one the best? Really?
I like it because it just calms down a little bit. Like there's a more central focus on one character.
It's got a real 80s G.I. Joe vibe to it too. I don't know why I got that vibe, but it's
also has a Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk feel to it.
As we live episode 5, it is important to remember that there is a subplot with Wolverine. We did roast him early on, but it is revealed he's in love with Jean Grey, and he's holding a picture of like Cyclops and Jean Grey together. And
he looks at that picture and goes Berserker Barrage on his dick all night.
does, dude. Later on, so he disappears at the end of episode 5, and nobody knows where he is. They just find the picture of like Cyclops, like berserker clawed out of the photo. Like it is like Wolverine is deep in, right?
Yeah.
And it's really important because at episode 6, it's the reason that Wolverine bails basically to the North Pole to clear his mind. Right, he's getting away from all of this. But of course, hilariously, Sabretooth attacks him and a bunch of Inuit natives to settle the score.
But like you have like the Inuit native that's getting jealous. That's what I mean by like the G.I. Joe plot, where this you can see as it's happening, like Wolverine is they're a big fan of Wolverine, and this guy's shine is gone, and now he's gonna dime him out, and then he dimes him out, and I fucked up, and then let's like I said, it just felt like a G.I. Joe plot, but I like it.
It did, and nobody in the tribe to their like benefit like knows that he's a mutant, because Sabretooth fucks Wolverine up in this one.
Yeah,
like throws him into kicks his ass, dude.
Like the Inuits don't even know mutants exist, right? Like
they're isolated. Yeah, they're literally living as primitive,
which is
natives.
why Wolverine wanted to go there, right, with these people. Like he wanted to be far away from everything.
He wanted to be isolated, and he ends up with these people after they rescue him because he's free.
Yeah.
He's basically, he gets his ass naturally whooped by Sabretooth, falls in the Arctic and is on an iceberg.
Yeah.
And the Inuit find Wolverine and they take him in and nurse him back to health, even though he heals instantly. And they're all like, "You heal so fast, warrior." And so he joins. They kind of invite him to join the tribe and help out, and he does. And like Chris says, there's another native who is sort of like the top dog, the alpha male there, starts getting humiliated because he can't compete, obviously, and nobody knows why, including him. And he just becomes more and more jealous. Like Wolverine's super strong, he's super fast.
Shadwick's right too. Like this one does simmer down a little bit. Like, and I think maybe that's why I like it. Is like you have the Sabretooth Wolverine, but it like you kind of reset, you calm down, because this is middle of the season.
True.
So,
they've all been kind of like balls of the wall action.
Yeah.
And like we said, like heavy on the like persecution.
Mm-hmm.
So like just take it back. But we do need to look up when the guys save Wolverine, when he's like floating on the chunk of ice.
Yeah.
Sabretooth sees that like from a distance, and I can't remember what it was. He says something hilarious about Wolverine's luck.
You have a coward's luck, Wolverine.
The end of the episode is him like they have their showdown again, like because doesn't he like he gets dimed out by the jealous dude, and then then Sabretooth just wrecks the fucking camp. And
yes, the jealous native basically runs into him out in the Arctic, and Sabretooth's gonna kill him, and he's like, I smell Wolverine on you, and he just hates Wolverine. He's like, you're helping him, and the Inuit like native guy's like, I hate Wolverine too, like he's ruined my life, he humiliated me. And so Sabretooth is like, oh well, awesome, so I can use you.
I can piss drunk cock.
Yeah. He's like, I tell you what, you take Wolverine out on a raft to go quote unquote fishing, and then we'll ambush him and kill him. And like the Inuit dude's like, awesome. So he does exactly what Sabretooth says, and instead of that, they never ambush him. Sabretooth ambushes and destroys the native camp and captures all the people. Then straps them to like a glacier with a bomb on it.
Pretty brilliant.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
Dude, it is. That part is actually really sad because Wolverine came all the way up here to get peace, to clear his mind, to have some peace. And there's a scene in this right when he realizes he hasn't put on his uniform or anything. He's just kind of living as a normal person as possibly as he can. And he realizes, he basically says, "There's no peace for me." And it's one of the saddest parts in this episode because he realizes,
right? Like that's
wherever he goes, like conflict and it's just his destiny to be in combat for the rest of his life. And he sort of accepts that in this episode, but it's so sad because just like, I came here to be alone to find peace, and there's just no peace. And he just straps on like the outfit, pulls out the claws.
Man. Like,
yes.
Yeah, it's dead sad. But I do love this episode. Really, really good.
It's a really good one.
All right, guys, that's going to pull us to a close of the first half of season 1 for X-Men. So we want to leave you with our Norm Macdonald clip of the week.
According to retailers, the most popular Halloween mask this year is O.J. Simpson. And the most popular Halloween greeting is, "I'll kill you and that guy who's bringing over your glasses," or treat.